in Russell today.
Picture George.
I'm trying, I can't see. There's George walking. He is crazy. Look at it out, it's absolutely crazy. It's so windy and snowy and dumb to be walking. Oh, George. Oh.
Yeah. Russell, Manitoba.
Russell! George is dumb. Just joking.
Speak to us. His name is George Martello, and he's from Toronto, and he's accompanied by Brandon and Branda, and they're here today to inform you on something that's a very big issue. George has been on the road for 240 days. His goal is to visit 500 cities and towns. His goal is to address the crucial shortage of organ tissue donations in Canada. Canada rates as one of the lowest in this civilized world, and also to inspire and encourage all 3 levels of government to help create a national registry. So he's going to discuss the importance of organ and tissue donations, and then after that we'll have a short question and answer period, so please make him feel welcome to Russell.
Thank you very much. Beside me is my communications director. Her name is Branda, and she's a recent graduate from Fort Francis High School. And sitting down on the chair is Brandon Morrison, who's doing the camera work. We're doing a documentary while we're on the road. It's kind of a Blair Witch sort of thing, a very amateur thing. And he's also from Fort Francis, and he's part of the road crew along with being the camera person. You're probably wondering what's a crazy guy like me doing walking at this time of the year. It's for a very important reason. Right now, Canada is suffering because when it comes to donating our organs, Canada is the lowest in the civilized world. And there's close to 4,000 people that are presently on the waiting list. And most of these people that are waiting for these very precious organs are going to pass away unless they get donated. So we are suffering a lot that way. And we can do a lot better in this country. There's a lot of other countries that are doing very, very well with their rate of organ donations. So what we need in this country is a lot of education and a lot of awareness. And that's one of the reasons why we're coming to schools, high schools, to give this very important message about the benefits of organ and tissue donations. One person has the power to make a decision, and when they pass away, they can save up to 10 people's lives. Isn't that incredible? You know, it's a really yucky thing to think about, because nobody wants to think about, you know, passing away or any of that kind of stuff. They want to think about what tune they can hear on the radio, or, you know, or when they have to hand in their essay. So it's not something that normally will come to people's minds. But today, we're hoping that you can think about it for a minute. To think about, you know, when we pass away, we like to pass things on. That's why there's wills created and, you know, that sort of thing. So what I wanted to leave today with you guys is just the thought of, would you become an organ donor if you passed away? Like, would you want to make that donation of saving up to 10 people's lives? And you know, what you can do is talk about this with your family, okay? I'm going to talk a little bit about the road trek, or while I've been on the road. Today is actually day 240. Been on the road for 240 days. I've walked over 3,000 kilometers so far. I've visited 132 cities and towns. I've done all of Ontario. This is my last stop in Manitoba. And then we're headed for Saskatchewan. And we're going to reach Victoria on July 27th. And at that point, the military is going to help us by arranging a flight. And we're going to make 2 stopovers, one in Rome to secure an audience with the Pope, and the other one in England to secure an audience with the Queen. Then the military is going to drop us off at St. John's, Newfoundland. And from St. John's, Newfoundland, we're going to continue walking through the Maritimes, through Quebec, back in Toronto, where we should be finished, hopefully in one piece, on January the 16th, 2002. So I'm going to be quite busy. Now, what we've decided to do is add a little more insanity to this. In Calgary, we're going to announce what the present rate of organ and tissue donations. When I heard last, it was 13.9 per million, which makes us one of the lowest. One of the highest, which is Spain, has a 39.6 or something like that. Very, very high. We're very, very low. I'm going to announce the rate when I reach Calgary, and by the time I come back to Toronto, 2002, if the rate hasn't doubled, I'm going to stay on the road until it does. Now, when I say that we can do more about that, we can do more about that as people and individuals, but also the governments can do more about that. At present, we don't have a good system in our country, and I'm also walking to get their attention. I'm walking to get the federal government's attention, and I'm walking to get the provincial government's attention, because we have a very bad system, and I'm going to explain it to you. At present, you know, when we're asking people to think about becoming organ donors and sign their donor cards and then express the wish to their families, how our system is created is that the family, during the time of tragedy, when somebody passes away, has to be approached for the final decision. Now, usually the family is in a lot of shock and in a lot of grief, and it's a bad time to ask them to make a very important decision, and the final decision. And what's happening is a lot of families are saying no when they're approached, even though the individual wanted their wish to get, that their organs get donated. And because of that, and because we have a reluctance of doctors to approach the family during that time, and we're not really training, hospital officials to do it in the right way. We don't have enough trained officials. But what we need to do is change the whole system of having to approach the family for the final decision and make the individual's wish legal binding, and then create a registry and hold it in a data bank. That's what other countries are doing. That's why they're much more successful in their rate. That's what Canada needs to do. So as I'm walking from community to community, I'm passionately calling on both levels of government to do something now, because there's too many people that are passing away. And you know what keeps me going? I met a family in Brandon a few days ago, and she told me the wonderful news about one of her sons, I think it was, that received a kidney and he was doing well, but she has a granddaughter that needs a lung and she's not doing well, and she's going through that same thing of living desperately, hoping that an organ's going to be available with this very dismal rate. And I know there's a lot of organs that could be available and aren't being used because of our system. So that's what keeps me going, knowing that there's that family among the 4,000 right now that have the loved ones on the waiting list and are facing this pretty bad situation. That's what keeps me going to go from community to community, you know, and help try and change this situation. So I really want to thank you guys for being attentive here. It's usually not an easy subject to listen to. Now, Miranda's here, she's going to help me with some questions, but if there's any questions at this point, anything like about the walk, about organ and tissue donations, anything that you would like to ask, please do. Oh, that's a good question. I forgot to actually talk about myself. 5 years ago, I was rushed to the hospital with liver failure. And at that point, the doctor told me I only had 2 days left to live. And my only hope was a liver transplant. And I knew at that point also, along with all the other people on the waiting list, that the odds were against me because of the low rate that we had. So I pretty well accepted my fate and counted my blessings and, you know, just slowly made my way away from Earth. The next day, an organ became available. And I knew what had to take place. Someone had to pass away. And that family of that loved one that passed away had to be approached for the final decision. And they said yes. Despite the grief and shock and everything, they said yes. They were thinking about someone else during that time. And they not only saved my life by saying yes, they saved 5 other people's lives. So, as soon as I woke up after that surgery, I knew I had a fighting chance to live, first of all, but I also knew that somehow I was going to acknowledge what they did, made my way away from Earth. The next day, an organ became available. And I knew what had to take place. Someone had to pass away. And that family of that loved one that passed away had to be approached for the final decision. And they said yes. Despite the grief and shock and everything, they said yes. They were thinking about someone else during that time. And they not only saved my life by saying yes, they saved 5 other people's lives. So, as soon as I woke up after that surgery, I knew I had a fighting chance to live, first of all, but I also knew that somehow I was going to acknowledge what they did. Didn't know what I was going to do at that point, but that's how this trek across Canada developed because of that. And, you know, I got inspired by Terry Fox, by what he did, probably as many millions of other Canadians did. And that's what inspired me to do this thing across Canada. It's an Olympic torch. It's an authentic Olympic torch. And we had a big kickoff in Toronto on June 20th. And we had a lot of sports athletes there from Maple Leafs, from the Blue Jays, Toronto Argonauts, Olympics. They all carried it for a little bit. And it's been carried to each mayor of each town that we've been going through. Each mayor has been receiving it. And it's been carried by thousands of hands in all the communities. We might have an opportunity to pass it around now so we can get... You know what I believe in? I believe in osmosis. If you guys put some good spirit in this torch, it'll keep me on the road. So how about if we start passing it around? Good idea? Yeah? Yeah.
But it wasn't like that.
Backside.
One of the questions that one of the teachers over here had was, how are we financially able to do this travel? And that's where the next couple of guests are coming in. So if you want to respond to that question.
Okay, we're not sponsored by any big corporations or anything like that. And we're usually working on a zero budget. We're begging, like, from the morning to the evening for our food, for accommodations, for repairs, for services, for shoes, for, you know, everything. And you know what? This walk's been able to keep alive, and we've been able to do the good work that we're doing because the community comes through with donations, and that's what's been keeping us alive, you know. So I think we're going to have that presented soon.
I'd like to ask the mayor again, Mayor Bernard-Kowski, to
Mr. Marcello, teachers, students, and parents. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Russell Town Council to welcome Mr. Marcello to our community. We are also gratified, sir, that you chose or selected Russell as one of your stop points for your Canada 500-day trek. And I understand it's going to be more now. Mr. Marcello, you are to be commended for this humanitarian, courageous, and most worthy campaign. Students, really and truly, most of you probably may be too young to realize the importance of this right now. But if you go home this evening and talk it over with your parents, I'm sure that they will fill you in on a lot of information vital to what this great gentleman is doing. Mr. Marcello, on behalf of the town of Russell, it gives me great pleasure to present this check to you, and with this, the assurance that our town council and hopefully the citizens of our community will support this most worthy program. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here on behalf of the Russell District Lions Club. I'm quite sure that most of you are aware that a lot of the work that the Lions do is involved in things like the Journey for Sight and the eye bank. And just a reminder that the eye bank, or Manitoba North Russell Ontario, has a large part of their work as an awareness program. We're doing just exactly the same kinds of things that you're doing. The eye bank itself promotes the idea of donating corneas when a person passes away. At the same time, there are also all kinds of donor cards that are available that any one of you can take, and you aren't too young at all to decide what you would like to do if and when the occasion arises that you could help out. Not only that, you're certainly not too young to talk to your parents and grandparents and so on and stress upon them the importance that you just heard today about what it is to get donations made. So at the same time, you do your share, I'll do my share, the Lions will do their share, and let's help him on his way with a little bit of extra money from the Russell Lions. Congratulations.
And on behalf of your own student council,
On behalf of Student Council, we'd would like to present you with a donation to help you on your way. We wish you all the best. Hi. First of all, I got some thank yous to make. And first of all, I'd like to say Russell is a beautiful town, what I've seen of it so far. First off, I'd like to say thanks to Roz Puzo, because she put everything together for us here. And secondly, I'd like to thank the Jolly Lodger for lodging us tonight. And I'd like to thank Vernon J. Ronoski, the mayor here. Thanks for the donation too. And I'd like to thank Jake Braun for the donation as well. And I'd like to thank our escort, Mr. Tony White. I think that's right. Is that right? Anyway, I would like to thank him too for escorting us into town, and thanks for listening.